Today I'm going to show you how I administer my pretty much preset IV antibiotic Ancef at home. It comes in the syringe like this for me. That might not be the case with everyone. And it has to be refrigerated. So it's been in the fridge and then it comes out an hour or so before, and I've been warming it up because it feels terrible when you have cold things go through your veins especially, but you also don't want it going through a port, which is what I have. Another thing in the hospital that they did, and that's how we thought we would be doing it until they gave us this, which is so much easier because it's already done pretty much, is mixing the Ancef. They had the Ancef itself, which is in powder form in a container in one of those little glass bottles. And what you did was, because we watched the nurse do it, is you inject two syringes of saline into it, and you mix it up, and then you draw it back with a needle, very similar to how I do my B12 injections, just a different medicine, and that you had to put saline in it. So that was really easy, but I don't have to do any of that because I have a bunch of these just sitting in the fridge. And my order is for every 8 hours, but I'm sure it depends on the person and the condition, as all medications do. These are the supplies I have ready. I have alcohol wipes. I have an extra cap to put on the end of my port. I have 3 saline syringes. I have the syringe of Ancef and a syringe of heparin. And that's all I'm going to need. So this is all warmed up, way warmer than it was before. I'm going to start by using a giant thing of hand sanitizer. Whoops, and hitting my little dresser over there. Sanitizing my hands. Making sure that this is clamped because I'm not ready to infuse anything yet. And I'm going to take off the screen cap, and it's going to go right in the garbage. Every time I take off a green cap, I use a new one. So these are never to be reused. That's how I have been taught. And I'm going to clean the end with an alcohol wipe. And you really want to scrub the top. Make sure you're not touching it so it remains sterile. And now I'm just tossing all this stuff back on my bed, and I will clean it up when I'm done. Now I'm opening the saline. This I'm keeping carefully in this hand so the end is not touching anything. And I'm going to flush my line before anything else goes in it. So this is just sterile saline. Now I have to open up the black clamp, and you want to press with some pressure as fast as you can, really. It should be easy to push to clean out your line. And that's it. I do not push out the bubbles or the air before. Instead, I just go all the way down to where it says number 1, because it's labeled up here number-wise. So that way I'm not getting the extra air in. If I wanted to show that right here, this is what you would squirt out in the beginning or comes out in the end. It doesn't matter either way, as long as you're not pushing the air through the line. I'm gonna grab some more hand sanitizer. Alright, now we go back to another alcohol wipe because my line was just dangling and touching my shirt. And I clean it really, really well and scrub back and forth and try to make it squeak sometimes and really get the top good. And make sure my fingers are always on the alcohol wipe. And now I'm ready to attach the antibiotic, which is the same way as attaching any of the other syringes. You do really need to go slowly with this medication because it's supposed to go over 5 minutes. I'm just going to go slow for a little bit, and then we'll show you when I catch up at the end. Again, I did not take the air out of this, so you can see there's a little bit of a bubble right here. I just won't push the syringe directly all the way in. I will stop when it reaches the bottom, and then none of the air will go into the line, and that is completely fine. So I just go a little bit, and then I stop, and then I look around my room, and, you know, take up some time, and then I push a little more, and I watch the clock, and then I keep going. So I'm getting to the bottom here. I'm right there where the black is. And it's just really great that the infusion company that I work with that supplies all of my supplies and materials and medications that I need for at-home use gave them in syringes, because it just makes it so much easier. Now, I would have made a video of me mixing it and showing you how to do that, which is not hard at all, so if you have to do it that way, don't worry. See, I'm stopping right before the air and just taking it off. But when you're in a rush, I can't really be in too much of a rush because I have to do it over 5 minutes, but that isn't really a long time in the grand scheme of things. It's just way easier to pull a syringe out of the fridge, warm it up, than have to be mixing things. So I'm very glad that they came that way, and that was just a really good coincidence. So now I'm alcoholing this again, and now I'm doing another saline. I actually have an extra saline here. I put an extra one out. I'm not going to need that one, so I'm putting it in my little supply package up here by my bed so I don't have to get up. But in case I needed an extra saline, there was one there. It's always good to have extra supplies with you in case you mess up and drop something on the floor. So that is always helpful. So I'm pushing the saline to the bottom, tossing all this stuff on my bed, and we'll clean it up after. And now with my last alcohol wipe, I'm going to go through it the really kind of beginner way where you're taught to alcohol in between everything, and that just makes it even cleaner, so why not? You have the supplies, why not alcohol wipe it? But if you've ever been in a hospital, you'll see that they do clean the ends of these, or they should, most definitely. But they might not clean it in between every single thing if you're doing multiple things, because if they just don't touch it to anything, you don't necessarily have to, because right now it's not touching anything, it's facing in the air, and I make sure not to like breathe right into it or sneeze on it and things like that. So you can connect things, like I could do this, the heparin, that's the blood thinner, it's sitting in the port and making sure that the port is nice and clean and doesn't get anything stuck in it. And I just push that in. And the saline and the heparin, you don't have to push slowly, that's only the antibiotic. The saline and heparin you want to push at a quicker speed. Some doctors or ER people or hospital people tell you to, here's an empty saline, push the saline and pulse it and go like 1, 2, 3. So that's like the only other preference I know of. So right now I could technically hook something else up because I'm still sterile. All I'm going to do is add another one of these green caps. These green caps have little tiny antiseptic. It's pretty much like the alcohol wipes that I was using. And it not only covers the end of my blue cap, so I'm way less likely to get dirt or particles in there, but it has the alcohol cleaner in it. So that's extra great for having it clean. And now I'm going to clamp this, and I'm going to feed it through the Band-Aid, which is just my way of keeping up my port because I don't like to tape it. And I find this way works really well. So I just adjust it to the length, so I don't want it hanging down too low, so it stays stationary. Like that. And I am done with my Ancef until another 8 hours.